The Joe Budden podcast just pissed off their entire fan base after a recent segment on today's episode. There's been a pretty recurrent and consistent complaint when it comes to the fans about the Joe Budden podcast. That complaint has been that the Joe Budden podcast don't really touch on anything involving Jay-Z. If Jay-Z is in some controversy, in some drama, they don't touch it. The only time you will really see them touch anything concerning Jay-Z and Rock Nation is if they believe they have enough to defend Jay-Z. If it's some type of drama or accusation that Jay-Z is dealing with and they believe is BS, and the public opinion is, this is BS, they would jump on it to defend Jay-Z. But anything else, they won't speak on it. And that's the case with the recent news cycle with this Rock Nation and Desiree Perez thing. Desiree Perez's daughter sued her for doing some pretty shicey things to her. And then Rock Nation proceeded to copyright strike and get small creators' Instagram and Twitter pages taken down. I would think that Joe Budden, who made his entire career on speaking up against the infrastructure and speaking up for little content creators, I would think that would be something that Joe Budden would touch on. They never touched on it. All the other time they've done this, the fans sort of complained and forgot about it. This time around, the fan complaints were so loud that they were forced to address it on the podcast. People were pissed because at some point it feels like, okay, like our favorite podcast is compromised, man. So fans were loud enough, it forced them to address it. And when they addressed it, it only made things worse. Because I feel like the conversation they was having was super disingenuous.
You've been one of the guys that gone against the machine, and then now they're saying, no, not now they're saying, as you being the person that did it, now they're saying that we up here may be afraid to speak on Rock Nation and the things that's talked about that's going surrounding it. What is your outlook on that?
Queen's Flip being autistically innocent is the only reason why we got this segment today. Queen's Flip don't know no better. He don't understand. The conversation he's trying to have is a very dangerous one for him. Now, Joe Budden and Mark Lamont Hill and everybody else, they are a tad bit more astute, a tad bit more, corrupted. So when Queen Flip brings this up as kind of like that innocent child, you could see the sharks go to work almost immediately, bro. All right? Almost immediately.
I'm on the same type of time you on. So, meaning that I don't speak on it if I have a relationship. Me, I can identify. If I have a relationship with somebody, I'm not speaking on it because I don't want to. Right. Regardless of how egregious it may come off, I'm not going to speak on it because I respect my relationship.
I saw Axe say that. I didn't see nobody else.
A couple people.
This is one of my tricks, bro. Shout out to Joe, man. You can't hate the player, man. Gotta hate the game, okay? Not the player. When I don't want to talk about something, I act like it's completely irrelevant, bro. What? Who said it, huh? Bro, I ain't hear that. I think only one person said it somewhere, bro. Joe knows this conversation extended beyond DJ Academics. Joe knows his entire Twitter community was talking about this. But Joe is trying to let Queen's Flip know the soft way, bro. Relax, bro. We can't talk about them. What are you doing? But once Queen's Flip broached the subject, now the other host, who probably don't know no better, the next one who I think is also autistically innocent, is Ice. Ice really took away the go-to move, which is, this is irrelevant. I've never heard about this from Joe. Because Ice then reiterated what Queen's Flip said and also said, bro, Joe, like this has been a recurring theme. I've seen it all this week. How did you not see it? So once it becomes almost impossible to avoid, then they began to have the conversation with just a bunch of deflection.
I'm gonna be honest. I saw it was people tagging posts before he posted that. Like, yo, y'all not gonna talk about this? Y'all, I saw it.
There was specific topics that they feel like we avoided.
Yes.
Rock Nation.
And I just want to hear from you how you look at that, Joe.
It's a good question. Maybe I'd be far removed from. My brain be so different from what the internet is saying.
We don't know.
In my brain, the Desiree story broke while we were still recording. To me,
yes.
At this point, I would respect the podcast more if they just said, "Hey, listen, man, we can't speak on it, bro, because we don't want no smoke." But speaking in circles and giving excuses in circles, to me, is just crazy, right? That doesn't make sense. The Joe Budden podcast filmed multiple episodes a week, Patreons, YouTube. It doesn't make sense. If you wanted to speak on it, you would speak on it, bro. There's been discussions and subjects that broke where you guys literally, like this will break, let's say, the last day of filming this week, and y'all speak on it the following week. So for you guys to say, oh, we didn't speak on it because it happened the last time we were filming, cut it out, bro. Cut it out. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Now, it went from that I guess, it became pretty evident that excuse wouldn't cut it. Then they jumped to the next excuse of, hey, listen, man, I don't speak on people and their kids' drama, which is clearly not true because Joe gets called out by Ice, who gave an example of Joe Budden speaking on people and their kids' drama. And then Joe gets upset because he feels like Ice was chasing the gotcha moment.
That's Hove's company. I do have a certain respect for him.
There we go.
I don't know. I don't have a relationship with Desiree. I've never met Desiree. I don't have any equity there.
Okay.
So she's in the news now in a story that I'm sure we'll get to at some point. But that story just broke.
But why? But why? But Joe,
and even that, I do have a certain type of, pardon me, Mark, a certain type of sensitivity to speaking about any story with anybody's children.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, I was going to say, like, why would you report
I want
that
to be
story?
very clear on that. That's not a Rock Nation thing. Anybody story that include their kids and how they going about parenting or not parenting, I let that play out. I don't rush to get to that.
I can't let you do that.
Do it.
We didn't do that with Brian McKnight, kids.
Stop it.
You didn't.
Stop it.
That is the truth.
My nigga.
Do you have another example?
I'm just giving you an example. You said any story with anybody's kids, you just let it play out. And we did not do that.
Brian McKnight.
And rest in peace.
Brian
because,
McKnight.
Nico
we'll get
just
to
Nico.
later.
Yes.
I hate when y'all do that. When we making like a profound point and y'all bring up something that's just ass cheek stupid. Brian McKnight denied kids and wanted nothing to do with his kids. I have a stance on that.
Dog,
I'm just telling you where I stand. I have a loud stance on people that want absolutely zero to do with their kids.
Brian McKnight will argue that it's more complicated than that. I'm not defending Brian McKnight because I think his son just died of cancer, and apparently they didn't reconcile before the son died of cancer, and he knew his son had cancer. So Brian McKnight is a terrible human being. I'm not defending him. I'm saying Brian McKnight would probably tell you, it's more complicated than that. My kids were manipulated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So your stance should apply to Brian McKnight. If you're not going to speak on people and their family drama or people and their children drama because, you don't do it, then it shouldn't only apply to Rock Nation and his personalities. It should apply to everyone, but it doesn't, and that's the problem. So it went from, I guess, Joe don't speak on people and their children to apparently Desiree Perez ain't famous enough to speak on, all right? The Executive of the Year winner ain't famous enough for the Joe Budden podcast to speak on.
I hate this gotcha moment.
Not no gotcha moment,
that don't
bro.
make no sense.
It ain't no gotcha
Brian
moment,
McKnight
bro.
wanted nothing to do with his kids. Ain't claiming his kids even in death freeze. Please leave me alone right now.
Talking about
Brian McKnight and Desiree Perez are not the same.
I didn't say they're the same.
Then why the f*** are we talking about Brian McKnight?
Yo, sometimes we don't even want that. Like, come on, bro.
That's hilarious.
Go ahead, Mark.
I think that's hilarious.
Go ahead, Mark.
What do they have to do with what I was saying?
It has nothing to do with nothing, Joe. Go ahead, Mark, please.
Freeze, I think you're right. I think we do talk about kids sometimes. I think
We do. That's all I'm saying.
Right. But I think it's important, though. So I think a better statement might be that it's certain kinds of conversations we have and certain kinds we don't. For me, one thing is it just about this person's business or does it advance a bigger story? Like, for example, the only reason Vanessa Bryant was interested in me today was because we had a whole conversation that was bigger, right? That was bigger than her. So that even after we knew the story wasn't true, it was still worth talking about. To me, Brian McKnight's story is worth talking about because of all the shit that comes with parenting and children. Also, he's on social media talking about his kids too, which is different than Dez, who's not on camera saying, "Hey, this thing happened to me." So I think that's different too. So for me, and the Dez story to me is only interesting if we're going to report on it.
I agree.
And I don't think that's what we do here.
Y'all sit on that podcast and gossip with no restrictions about everybody else's stuff. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to a particular person, all of a sudden there's different rules of, man, when we talk about a story, man, we talk about the bigger point. The story got to have a real meaning. We got to be able to psychoanalyze the depth of, man, cut it out, bruh. Those rules only apply to certain people. And I feel like the fans is watching this and they were getting angry, which is why a lot of backlash came from this, because they understand, bro, they're being BS, bro. Like, it's nonsense. What do you mean? You're not going to talk about this story because what? Like, the story has to have a deeper meaning? And if you talk on this story, it feels like it's not a big story. You guys are reporting. Of course y'all report on things. Y'all talk about things that haven't been confirmed. Y'all talk about things that aren't really a big, in-depth story. But this story is an in-depth story. This story does have a bigger meaning. This is a story of a woman who is trying to silence creators because they were speaking on something that she felt is unfavorable to her. Sending copyright strikes, using DMCA, using big attorneys to terrorize creators. That's not a big enough story for you guys, right? That's not a... Cut it out, bruh. Or her daughter suing her, accusing her of similar things that get ties back to Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. It's like, come on, man. They can't make it any more obvious here, bruh. I don't know if the checks is clearing. I don't know if the threats is coming in, but this is out of control.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I do think there's a distinction.
But there is a conversation there on how far are you willing to go to protect your child, or to protect your children. That's a conversation.
Yeah, we could have that conversation, but I'm saying I don't think it's. But the narrative on the internet is like y'all are running from that story. It's like, well, that's not a story that I think needs to be told. Me personally,
the narrative on the internet is anything Hov/Rock Nation related. We won't touch.
Hov got sued,
and that's not true.
Yeah, right.
That's just not true.
That's not true.
But that's the narrative. They make it seem like we all up here, we claim Hovengers, we love Hov, et cetera, et cetera. So we're afraid of Hov. We can't say anything. That's it.
I'm unfamiliar with the story,
narrative.
but is the story like something that should not have, it's not meant for public consumption and just it got leaked or whatever?
No, it's on the news.
No, it's on the news. It's out.
I understand that.
The daughter sued her. It's out.
Got it.
Yeah. I just don't think to me, it's not about the music business. It's not about black culture. It's just a story about this person who happens to be famous. If were she not famous, we'd have no interest in that story. That to me is why we don't talk about it.
The only reason why people care about it is because she's affiliated with Rock Nation.
Yes,
I'm sure there's a lot to
say because she's not
famous. She's an exec somewhere.
That's it.
Like,
that's true. That's
This is disgusting. This is nasty stuff, man. This is nasty. She's not necessarily that famous. Why would we all come? Yo, listen, man. I don't know what exactly this woman has over the entire industry, man. I don't know what she has over like our favorite podcasters. I don't know what it is, bruh. What do this woman have over? Bro, does she know like where y'all skeletons are? Because when it comes to the industry, all these dudes are part of the secret society, and they all have nasty secrets. They all have secrets, you know, that if it comes out, we'll probably look at them a little differently. Now, I don't know. I don't think Joe Budden is a part of the secret society, but Joe has been a part of the music industry for a while now. And the one thing we know, man, is you don't reach a certain level of success without giving up something. Rather is a piece of your integrity, a piece of that butt. You got to give up something when it comes to obtaining a certain level of success in the music industry, in a secret society of the music industry. So I don't know what it is, bro. She has to have something on these people. No way they sit up here and just play in our faces like this, bro. She's not even that famous. What? In terms of hip hop media and relevance, who's more relevant than her this week? Man, y'all let me know in the comment section, man. What do you guys think about this, man? Am I just tripping? Or do you understand why the Joe Budden fan base was upset at them? Let me know in the comment section, okay? And if you're still watching, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen to find out how Halle Bailey just got exposed by DDG, and I think her career is over, right? The receipts are in 4K. She can't get over this, man. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.